It's Tuesday, November the 21st, and this is your Barbados Today Evening News Update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Their first out of the blocks, the United Progressive Party today gave a sneak peek into its economic plan for the country if elected to government during the next general election. Now, our top priority is tax relief for Barbadians. UPP leader Lynette Eastman told reporters at a news conference where the party released a section of its manifesto that the UPP will gradually remove the controversial National Social Responsibility Levy, which Finance Minister Chris Sinclair moved from 2% to 10% in his last budget.
We are also in favor of gradually removing the National Social Responsibility Levy. And I say that because we do not believe that one can just, as soon as you get into government, remove the tax-raising measures without a proper assessment of the tax situation in Barbados. But we will be looking at reducing the National Social Responsibility Levy until we reach the time where we can remove it completely.
Barbadians can also expect a reduction in the value-added tax. A UPP government will lower the 17.5% VAT rate to 15% across the board as part of its measures to overhaul the island's taxation system.
We want to cut back on that. We want to go back, especially where the VAT is concerned, that you have a low rate and a broad base. That's the basis of VAT. Broad base, low rates. So we would be looking to reduce the value-added tax rate back to 15%, where it was when all of these studies were done, which informed us as to where we should set the tax rate. Of course, the basket of goods which has been identified will remain in place.
The UPP is also concerned about the island's debt, which stands at 144% of its gross domestic product, making Barbados one of the world's most heavily indebted countries. Citing concern about the recent downgrades and the impact on the country's ability to borrow to clear its debt, Eastman stressed that decisive action is needed. She made it clear that a UPP government will not rule out going to the International Monetary Fund for help.
The United Progressive Party will therefore review all options for borrowing, including going to the International Monetary Fund, and Barbados is a member of that organization. So going to the International Monetary Fund is not off the table for the United Progressive Party. It is an option that we would review. We would also seek out non-traditional sources of government funding, and also with respect to our own private sector organizations to help them in finding their own funding for their projects.
In other news now, Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite is proposing the introduction of fixed penalties for traffic offences. Speaking in Parliament on the Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2017, Brathwaite argued that the current system was not working.
When I transpose that against the fact that a chap might have to leave a day's work, go and sit down at District B or District C or whatever, almost for a whole day, to pay a fine for $150 or $200 or whatever the fine is, it must be worth it. It must be, and you have to calculate also the judicial time involved. It must be worth it. It must be worth it for us to have a system that persons, whether you use the demerit system or whatever, that persons are fined, they know what the fine is and have the ability to go and pay the fine.
A 22-year-old computer science major from Trinidad and Tobago is the winner of the 2018 Commonwealth Caribbean Rhodes Scholarship. Mandela Patrick was chosen today from a field of 9 candidates from Barbados, Dominica, St. Lucia, Antigua and Barbuda, and the Bahamas. Mandela, who did his bachelor's degree in computer science at the prestigious Harvard University in the United States and internships at Facebook and Goldman Sachs, said he was excited about winning the scholarship. He says he's looking forward to transforming the region's educational sector when he returns.
So I'm really interested in transforming the Caribbean through technology, in particular like education. So I've had experiences applying machine learning at scale at companies such as Facebook and Goldman Sachs, and I want to bring that sort of technology and that sort of experience to bring personalized education to the Caribbean. I think it's going to have a massive impact for like fixing education equality in Trinidad and the wider Caribbean. And I'm excited to like start that journey.
Meanwhile, the Secretary of the Selection Committee for the Commonwealth Caribbean Rhodes Scholarship is hopeful that the organization will offer more than one scholarship. Speaking just after announcing the winner for the 2018, Peter Goldson described this year's selection process as an extremely difficult one.
It was an extremely strong field, and it always pains us, but pained us particularly this year because there's only one scholarship.
So in the past it has been more than one?
There was a time when there were two Commonwealth Caribbean scholarships. The Rhodes Trust cut it down to one in the early 2000s when it had some financial difficulties, and we're always hoping that that extra scholarship will be restored because there are so many bright kids from the region who could get the scholarship and proceed to Oxford and make us proud.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. Thousands of Haitians who were allowed to live and work in the United States since an earthquake ravaged their country in 2010 are now facing deportation. The United States has announced that it is removing their temporary protection status. As a result, some 59,000 Haitians under the program will be expected to leave the United States by July 2019 or face deportation. In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security said that after meeting with Haitian government officials and Haitian communities in the United States, it had decided to let the protections end. And on the international scene, big celebrations are continuing across Zimbabwe on the heels of the resignation of 93-year-old party leader Robert Mugabe. After 37 years of autocratic rule, Mugabe succumbed to the pressure and stepped down as the Zimbabwe parliament in Harare began impeachment proceedings against him. More in this CNN report.
Hereby formally tender my resignation as the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe with immediate effect.
It's extremely telling, and it shows you that the people are the ones who wanted to push him out.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic evening.